Hi everyone. So one of the things that I think a lot of students, particularly beginners, struggle with is good press-ups. So we cover a few tips and techniques of how to progress from being able to do no press-ups to getting some solid press-ups in. They're a great exercise. They can work the arms, the shoulders, but also really good for working the core of the body as well. Okay, so before we get into the variations, just a few pointers on good form for your press-ups. So the first one, you want to keep your spine nice and neutral. So that means not tucking your chin down or lifting it up. Keep it forwards, so you're keeping a nice straight line here for all of your press-ups. Okay. Next one, shoulder and arm position. So you want your starting position, your shoulders back and down. So to get there, lift them up, roll them back, and drop them down into position. Hands out in front, slightly wider than the shoulders, and slightly lower, and then as you lower yourself down, the elbows are going to go slightly out to the sides, okay, and pushing in. Here, shoulder blades squeezing together as you go down, and then pulling apart as you come up. I see a lot of people doing press-ups with their elbows coming very wide, which is putting a lot of stress on the shoulder joints, which isn't very good. So here, keep them flaring closer to your feet than to the sides. Okay, the next one, by keeping the core nice and tight and a nice straight line for those press-ups. Think about pulling your belly button into your spine and you're turning your hips forwards. So don't let your tailbone stick out like a duck. Roll your hips under your body, tense your abs here, tense the legs, tense the glutes. Keep that body in a nice straight line going up and down. As you're doing every press-up, your whole body should be in tension. So in terms of the numbers of these exercises you want to be trying to achieve, aim for about 3 sets of 10 with controlled movements and perfect form before moving on to a more challenging version. A nice steady pace down, 1, 2, hold, and then push 1, 2, back up. Try not to bounce straight out of the downward phase to the upward phase. Okay, let's show you those variations. Okay, so the first variation is a wall press up. From there, when you're standing about an arm's distance away from the wall, hands just below your shoulder height. From there, think about tensing the core, so pulling your belly button towards your spine. From there, hands on the wall, lowering yourself towards the wall, tensing the shoulders, tense the arms, and push yourself back. Here and back. Trying to keep that head and neck nice and neutral, so looking straight forwards, squeezing the legs, the glutes, the core, the back. This way. Okay, next one. Cool. So after you've mastered the wall press ups, the next challenge is to just add a little bit more weight onto the body, taking the angle a little bit lower. Really good way of that is using some steps. So what you're going to do, nice and easy, lay down on your steps and find the step that is just below your shoulders. From there, tense the body, so you've just got your feet and hands on the floor, and then push up. So again, keeping that body nice and tight, pulling the belly button towards your spine, head's looking straight forwards, this way. Feeling that tension all the way through the body, through the shoulders and the arms. When you can do that step, move 1 step lower, and move the feet back. 1 step lower, move the feet back, and keep working lower and lower and lower and lower. So you'll probably find at some point on the stairs you'll get to a bit of a plateau or somewhere where you're not feeling that progression quite as quickly. So there are a couple of ways of getting through that. So the first one is a kneeling press up. So what we're going to do is lay the body straight down on the floor, hands just below the shoulders. From there you can cross the feet, keep your knees on the floor, tense the body and pushing up, keeping that core nice and tight again, lowering yourself down and up, aiming to keep a nice straight line from the shoulder through the hips to the knees. Looking forward slightly, this way. So to progress onto full press-ups, we also really need to strengthen the core, and the plank is a fantastic way of doing that one. But you need to make it an active plank, so you need to be working the muscles. So start off on the elbows, hands pointing straight forwards, up onto the toes, and then keeping that body in a nice straight line. From there, rather than just relaxing in this position, think about pulling your elbows to your toes and your toes to your elbows. Okay, instantly, from a nice relaxed resting position, I'm forcing my body to tense and really working all those muscles down the centre line of the body. Right, so next step while you're strengthening the core is to go to a half range press up. So find yourself a football or a basketball and position it just under the chest on your press up. So slightly behind the hands. From there, up onto your toes, and then carefully lowering yourself down and back up. So you're just going down so that you're touching the ball and back up. Okay, from there you want to start building that full range of motion in the elbows and shoulders. But a way you can do that without taking that full jump to a full press up is just working the negatives phase of the movement. So get into your press up position and then just control yourself down to the floor and relax. Reset yourself, keeping that body nice and straight line, lower yourself to the floor and relax. Reset and lower yourself down. From there, just build straight up into that full press up, always increasing the range of movement, lowering yourself down, nose to the floor and back up. Lower down and back up. Okay, so one way you can check the line of your body, whether you've got the right hip positioning, is to use a box or a stick and just lay it on the back of your body, and from there it should stay in place and not slide off. Okay, so now what not to do. Okay, so these are a few common poor press ups that we see. So the first one is the snake. So from here, people lower themselves down, and then to make the press up easier, they lift the shoulders and then the hips. Here, this way. So that's showing a weak core and probably a little bit of lacking strength in the arms as well. It's going to give you a really bad back if you do loads of those. The next one, a nodding press up, where people move a lot of movement in the head, but not much movement anywhere else. That's just going to make you dizzy. And the final common one is a lot of movement in the hips, but not much movement in the arms. So this kind of press up here, it feels like you're moving a long way, but again, that's going to be putting a lot of extra pressure on your spine that you really don't need. So keep those cores nice and tight. Smaller range of motion with good form is better than big range of motion with terrible form. Cool, have fun practicing. Okay, quick bonus for getting press ups into your everyday life. So what we can do, every time we're going up the stairs, press up, move up a step, press up and up, and the same when you're going back down. Okay, slight variation on that is you can do a lizard press. So have one hand and one foot up, press, and then step, press and step, and then work your way back down. As always, working on keeping that nice tight core, good form for those press ups. Okay, so now a way of making the press ups a little bit harder once you've got those standard full press ups is just to lift your feet higher and higher. So we can use the stairs again, feet on the bottom set and press. Here, again, really important, keeping that core tight. All the way down, all the way up. Okay, so another way to make those press-ups more challenging is to make them more dynamic. So still a steady lower and then really exploding out through the pushing phase. Okay, so the first aim is just to be able to get your hands off the floor. Here. This way. Next phase, once you can do that comfortably, try and challenge yourself for a bit more airtime and clap in between the press-ups. And then finally, test of arm and core strength, lifting the whole body off the floor. And after that, you can play around as much as you like.